Hello there, YouTubers. Trying to get you a little movie out. Maybe I'll start back here. I don't know where I can start. We'll just leave it here. I was going to get into pictures, show you my ugly face. I'm working on 3 sawmills right now. I'm working on this one here. I'm working on the one in the back, the double lot that's got the wobble in it. I've got that getting ready to pull the mandrel out of that. It just had too much wobble. Then we had a big rainstorm that came in here, probably, it probably lasted a couple hours, but it wasn't heavy for a couple hours. But I was down in here working on this one. I got the lead set on it now. I'm going to tell you how I set the lead. I think I might have told you that in the back. Basically, I set the dial indicator right there. And it is right here. It's, I can put it on there. It doesn't make any difference. Basically, I put it in right there and then flip that little switch, and that's where it sits. Oh, it'll be interesting to see how much play is between my guides right now. If I zero that out, I got 20 thousandths of an inch between my the play and the guides right now. That's a little bit more than I generally like, but it's fine right now, just for a startup. But how I set the lead on a 3 mandrel, or a three bearing mandrel, or a long mandrel, I loosen the 2 side nuts that pull that hold the bearing, and then I undo. There's a nut under the bottom, so you know I've been down in the hole. There's a nut underneath there. I'll see if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. There's one up under there, and there's one over there too. And I loosen. Now I loosen those. There's a lock nut and a jam nut. I'll show you back here in this back one. And then this one here has a pipe that goes all the way through, and it's the bottom of that one. Then this one here, this is a makeshift setup here to get everything. That's just what we need to do it going. But you want to loosen your jam nut, and back these out maybe a 1/4 of a turn on each way. And then see, this one here is something we fabricated underneath there. That holds that in place. And I might not be telling you this in the right order, and I might not do it as I'm telling you, but pretty much that's what I got. But before I did everything, I marked the tooth. You can see I got marks on a bunch of teeth on this one, as I do in the back, because I check it. So I run it in here, and then I take a tape and run from that tooth. Well, right now I can't get my leg through here. It just don't work like that, guys. I got a piece of aluminum in here right now. That's for the next step. This should come out to be on 7. Now I won't be able to see it till we get in the. There's a shadow on there, but that's on 7. Run it now. You got to run it all the way down to the other end, or to the other end of the blade, and then you got to twirl the blade. So I got the belts off so I can do all that stuff. So then what you do is you roll it on over. You can see about where that tooth is, and then you have to move the carriage down. Well, I got the belts off so I can move the carriage down. So you'll see it's not too bad moving the carriage until I tried to push it. Next step I had to push it, but I'm going to have to put the belts back on so you can kind of see what I'm about to do. I like to put gloves on. I've been cleaning up these pulleys were real covered with rust, and that was a problem. The belts are 3-ply belts they sold me for this thing. They should have been 4-ply, so I don't like them, so I'm getting another set of belts coming in. I'm working on 3 sawmills right now. This one, and the one up at Carroll County. So here's how I move the carriage. You guys, I think you can see the carriage. I forget already from looking in it. and I'll run it down to the other side, and it doesn't move too hard. But you don't want to touch the blade if you can keep it. Oh, here's. Can you see the carriage going on the other side of me? So we'll run it down, and you can see when that. See that? Well, maybe you can't see that. You can see when the L just comes on the other side of that. I don't know whether you can see that or not. I got to take the glove mittens off. Take you off the tripod. And we'll go down and measure the other side. I should have it set on 3/32 of an inch lead. Is what I wanted to set this one for. Now I'll find my tooth with the orange on it. It's all the way down there. You don't want to touch the blade. So I got to bring it up to right about there, except for I got the carriage a bit too far. So now I got to move the carriage back. That's what I said. That's why I don't film a lot of this stuff. It just takes so much time. I probably got 2 hours setting the lead on this thing. I think that's about where it is. You know, if you had a helper, you could probably knock it down to 15 minutes. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm in there now. It's getting dark. Couldn't find my camera. Hopefully this will come up. Maybe. It depends on which way the camera is, what it shows. But when I'm looking at it, it's because you got to see just this very corner of that tooth. And it's right on 3/32. I don't know what it shows on the camera, and I won't be able to tell. And I don't have that quite in the right place there. And then you get dirt on there. So once you have it set like that, then I roll this blade 90 degrees, recheck it here, run it back and recheck it there to make sure it's what I want. So I've got 2 times. This is when it's off. Okay, now that it's set, it should be the same. But when it's off, so I got my amount in my mind. So before I started, it was leading the wrong way. So then I bring it back and double check my figure, and then I know where I want my blade to go. So I've got the measurements. I know how far the trip's going to be, and so you just start cranking on it. I crank on it a little bit here. Then I crank on it a little bit in the back. Then I crank it on a little bit here. Then I crank on it a little bit in the back. Meanwhile, these, I'll show you these things. I could take you back and show you another saddle in the back. I drew you a picture, a couple things. So this thing here, now, if you're looking at it this way, will go this way to get me lead. Okay, go me this way to give me negative lead. So I wanted positive lead, but we're only talking maybe 1 turn. You're hardly talking any. But I want to do half out of this head block, or half out of this bearing assembly, and half out of the other bearing assembly. Different people do it different ways. Some people just do it all in the back. Some people do it all in the front. Some people, you know, it's what it is. Anyhow, because I knew what my measurement was, I knew where I had to go onto this. I knew I had to move it. I think this afternoon I had to move it, I don't know, 30,000, 40,000, probably 40,000. I don't remember. But then I get it to where I want it. Then I zero this out again. In other words, I move it, then re-zero it, and then I start tightening. And so I take a little tight here, little tight there, little tight here, little, and as soon as you touch it, you'll watch that gauge start to move. And as soon as it moves, then you back out so it stays on 0. And that thing can move a lot. It moved after I started tightening all these units up, because as you run those screws in, they're tapered at the end. They got like a cone into them. They go into a cone and they fit into a cone. So as you go in, those bearing assemblies are moving. So you want those fairly tight, you know, snug. Don't over tighten them, because a lot of people break those bearing yokes get broke all the time. But anyhow, You tighten them up a little bit. And then you tighten them up. And every time you do it, take one little tightening, you got to come up here and look in the gauge. That's why I needed a helper for this. Because when I'm back here at the back, I do a little bit of tightening, come up and check it. Go back, do a little bit more tightening, come back and check it. Go a little bit, do more tightening, come back and check it. So that's why it chews up 2 hours. Now once you have your front one and your back one in, then you bolt, remember that bolt from underneath? Tighten that one up, tighten this one up. Okay? Well, I didn't tighten this one. Okay? Then you want to start tightening this one here, because that might hold the shaft in an angle that you don't really want it, but we're only talking thousandths of an inch here. If you guys are not familiar with a thousandth of an inch, a hair is generally 1.5 thousandths of an inch, give or take. A piece of paper might run 2 or 3 inches. Anyhow, then you start on that center bearing, and this one wasn't too bad for me because I could see the gauge. So I'd take it and move it one side, then the other side, one side, then the other side. Remember, the front one's tight, the back one's tight, the back underneath is tight. Okay? And at that point, once it's zeroed here, okay, stays on 0, then I can start tightening. Then I climb underneath and tighten the underneath of that one there, okay? And came up and looked at it, it didn't move. When I tightened the one underneath there, it moved 20 thousandths of an inch. So that means I had to get it back to where it was. So then I had to adjust for what that thing was going to tighten down. So it took me a couple hours to get the lead set on it the way I wanted. It's good enough now. So now I'm going to take this off. Now the next thing I got to do to get this thing ready is adjust the L's. Make sure all the L's are in the proper place. So that's what I'll do. Well, I gotta roll this thing back. That's what I'm getting ready to do here. I haven't quite figured out how to do it. Now I need this back right where it hits the blade. Now I might, man, that's. Alright. Now right now that's at 7, that right there is 7 inches. Because the blade goes out at 7/37. Oh, it might not be on this too. Yeah, this one doesn't have any run out in it. That's got a little run out, that's a line underneath. But I did not, when you do that, you got to back your, I forgot to say, you have to back your guides out. You don't want the blade hitting the guides. But now what I want to do is put a piece of stainless, or not stainless, it's just a piece of aluminum. What I got to do here, everybody's got their own way of doing it. You could probably just run a line from here down, measure it up 6 inches and whatever. I put one there to get an average of what it is. I just haven't figured out how I'm going to do it. It'd probably be better to have a magnet piece there or something like that. If I had a magnet, I could probably put on there and hold the way through. But it looks like I got to take these, I want to go right above those. Because I like the, I like a board in there generally when I do that, because it puts a little bit of strain. It takes some of the backlash out of the gears that are underneath. But then I got to come down and do the same thing all the way down there. But what I got to do is I got to bring that L up to this blade and make sure that's on my 7 also. And I was going to push the carriage up because it looks like it moves real easy. Shoot, I couldn't even budge the carriage. So I'm kind of in a quandary. I can run it down the whole way. This takes a lot of time to get this set too. A lot more than the a smaller mill. Because on the back, this is the number 1 mill and the number 3 mill are the only ones that have all the adjustments on the back. And it's getting dark enough now, I don't really feel like doing it. I could turn the lights on, but when I took all that stuff off of over there, I put my inverter there and took the battery out. I've just changed crap all around. But most sawmills I don't know if you can see all that. It's got all sorts of hoojiggies. It's got a nut here, a nut and a jam nut here, or yeah, a lock nut. And that's how you move this in and out. So once I'll leave this one here because it's in about the center of the path and it's good, and I've got that. So now I got to go all the way down yonder and bring that one up. And take this one. Oh, sit down, I'm getting old and tired. Take this one to, well, I'll take it up and measure it first, because if it just happens to be 7 right where I want it, then I'll probably be all right. Well, then I will be all right. I really like having that. Once I put the monofilament line on there and pull it tight, then those little silver things will stay. And then I don't need to run the carriage up and down the track. But I don't think I can get the carriage to go all the way down the track without taking the shield off that. So there's just always something. So I gotta move. I know I tried to run it down one time and it won't go down with that on there. I might be able to move it, slide it off enough to get the carriage down. But I tried to push that carriage, and I thought I'd be able to push it. Well, I originally didn't think I'd be able to push it, but when I pull that, when I pull the wheels drive a gear have a gear there, and then drive to the drum roll in there, which is what has the cable, which I guess winches it. I don't know. You can see. Maybe you can't see in there. It's just getting too dark. There's a drum roll there, and that's where your cable runs around, and that's the shaft going across there. That's a 2-inch shaft on this. It's the biggest. This is the biggest mill Frick makes almost. They had a number 2, and then they changed it to a number 1, and then they built a number 3. The number 3 has the identical husk here, but where these open up 44 inches, the number 3 opens up 54 inches. I think, I'm pretty sure on that. Anyhow, I guess we're there. I'll take you back and show you the mill in the back all tore apart. All the belts are off it. I got to get the blade off. That's all I'm waiting on, is getting the blade off, but I need help to get the blade off, and Jeffrey's in a million other things. I think I'm going to get my neighbor up over top the hill. If I can get it out to the board back there, then I'm all right with it. I just can't get it off the initial start. We'll take that mander out, because that fast collar, which is what that is on there, that big collar, that's what the problem is. I'm about 99% sure on that other mill in the back. Anyhow, that's about it. I got those all shined up, ready to go. Lacing coming in tomorrow for the belts. Oil isn't leaking. Oh, we can start it up. The seems to be pretty good tight wise. Let's see, we'll put it, you can, there, I put the clutch in. Well, I'll start it without the clutch in. It's all air operated. Should start. I didn't do the starter, but it seems to be doing okay. It's not a real sharp start. I've got to push the clutch in. Then I come down and put it in gear. Doesn't want to go in gear. There it goes. I think I'll roll this out of the way. This lets the clutch back out. That's it. Now you can't see this one. This one doesn't do too much moving around. this one's doing all right. Got a little wobble, but not much. That's acceptable. That's this setup here. Now throw this. Now I gotta take it out of gear. Then I gotta let the clutch out. And that's it. Now, the nice thing about here, I can control this from the Sawyer's position, so I kind of like that. So it's just about ready to saw. Once I get check all these head blocks, then it can actually saw. The problem that I'll have is not being able to get the sawdust out of there, but for a little bit I might be all right. I might play around with it a little bit. So anyhow, that's what's going on in my world, my little world. I did go the last couple days, Friday night and Saturday night, went to a class reunion thing. I can sit there and jabber. Went to the class reunion thing and actually had a good time. I didn't think anybody that I saw a few people I really know, but most of the people didn't know me because I didn't spend much time. I didn't spend hardly any time in school. I skipped and worked, and I thought it'd be not as friendly as it was. It turned out to be real friendly, and I don't think it was alcohol friendly. I think it was people were sincere. I think, you know, a lot of people that might have been a little cliquish in school kind of went out with old age. I guess you got to befriend just about everybody now because you're losing half your friends. I lost I guess a couple friends in the last few weeks in the last month, maybe 2 or 3, and just found out about another one, as a matter of fact, when I was talking to him about the Carroll County show. So but anyhow, the drunks weren't drinking, the womanizers weren't womanizing, and it was just, everybody was real nice. The only thing I'd recommend if you're going to have a 50th year reunion, you don't need a DJ and a dance floor. Them old people, they just weren't dancing. And there was probably about 150 people there. And the question that was put to me the most was, did you go to Northwood? And I thought that was kind of funny. I got that question asked, I don't know how many times, but they had a lot of pictures up of class pictures from elementary school. They had one from my middle school, and I went right over to the guy. I said, that's me right there. And then I was the only person there. They took pictures of the people from the different feeder schools to Northwood, elementary feeder schools to Northwood. And I was the only one there that went to 2 elementary schools, because I started at Glen Haven Elementary School, and then they built a new one 5 houses from my house. So then I ended up going to that one. So I was the only person that was in the Dennis Avenue Elementary School feed to Northwood and the Glen Haven feed to Northwood. So I thought that was, I don't know, it was what, it didn't make any difference really. So anyhow, I had a good time. So we went there Friday night, and then we went there again Saturday night. The food, whoever planned the food, hats off to them. They did an exquisite job of the food that they got, and an exquisite job of the amount, the exquisite job of the choice. I mean, there was nothing. They had so much food. You had everything you can imagine. You couldn't gone away from there hungry. I gained 5 pounds, which I didn't need to. So now I'm trying to get rid of the 5 pounds I just gained. I might have gained more than 5 pounds now I think about it. But really had a good time. But that's why I really haven't had any movies the last few days. Last night I was working down at Jeffrey's and I didn't get home till 1 o'clock working on just tons of stuff. Just tons of stuff. So anyhow, I'm going to put this one on tonight. If I get this set up, trouble now is I don't even have any logs to saw. I have to go dig something up to come down and make a little bit of sawdust. Once I get the L's all lined up or checked for a line, so I'll put the 1/4-inch thing down there, the 1/4-inch thing down there, run a string in between, and then put a 1/4-inch spacer down in between every one of them to see if it, because if you, I don't know, that's just the way I do it. So anyhow, you got to check the number 1 and the last one you got, whether it's a 3 or 2 or 4, and they got to be in line, and that's what you got to do. Then everything in between sets to that is the best thing I can tell you. So that's over and out. If you can see me in the dark, that's good. It is really, I think it's probably, it might be 7:45. My flip phone. No, it is 8 o'clock. So, no, it's 7:56. Anyhow, we had storms come through, all this kind of nonsense. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you liked it. If you want to see more, hit the bell button. And if you want, I think you got to do that to get notified when there's a movie. And I don't know if you have to hit the subscribe button in order to hit the bell button, or if you just hit the bell button, it'll always notify you. I don't know how any of that stuff works. But I'd bring you along, I meant to tell you, I'd bring you along for setting those L's, except for when I'm setting those L's, it's probably going to take 2 or 3 hours, I'm guessing. I'm guessing 2 or 3 hours. If I knew how to make a fast speed, I would do it. Just because then I could get it all in. But if you put it on fast speed, it's just, it ain't worth it. So I might bring you along for the start of it, but we ain't gonna go. I might bring you along for a half hour of it, but it ain't gonna get it done. So over and out. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.